welcome back to my channel. This is Christina at Homeschool and Grace, and today's video is another weekly update, for week 6 and 7. So I'm super excited. I'm super excited to share with you today how our last couple weeks went and where we're at, how's school going, how's everything working, what's not working. And I thought it would be easier just to do 2 weeks at once, because sometimes I get way backed up if I keep doing just once a week, one a week. So to start out with, school's going pretty good. We were, doing really great, and then we're doing the 6 weeks on, 1 week off. We're trying that out. And so we did that, and our 1 week off was our makeup week because we had missed a few things. And so now we're back on, but last week, so my 7th week, what it should have been, got way messed up. We got super busy and super behind, not super behind, like a couple days. But we stayed caught up on our, did I say week 6 and 7? It's actually weeks 5 and 6. So anyway, I realized, okay, so I'm going to share a little background. I've been fighting headaches, like constantly, like chronic headaches. And we haven't been able to figure out what's going on. And I've taken like Advil and stuff, and it's not helping. I'm drinking tea. So I decided to try out a new doctor, a naturopath, try that, and he put me on this massive like detox, and I got so sick. It was not fun. But I'm now like coming out of the detox and the diet and changing my diet and everything, and so I'm doing better, but I still have this like headache, which is, this is probably like stress headache. I don't know. I'm probably a little stressed. So yeah, that's a little background. What's going on with me? So I'm finally feeling better though, so that's good, because it felt pretty rotten for the first couple days there. But otherwise, so that kind of threw a damper into our school. That's why I was sharing that story, because we ended up having to miss a couple days because I felt so crummy, which I was not prepared for. So next time, if I ever started this all over again, I'd tell the doctor, like, is this going to make me really sick? Because I just need to know. And I didn't do that. So. Okay, so let's dive in. So if you are new here, I homeschool, 5 kids, 5 girls. I'm teaching 6th, 3rd, 1st, not kinder, pre-K, and preschool. And it's just a little preschool. So let's start out with, and we use My Father's World. So exploration to 1850s, week 5 and 6. So let me get to week 5 first. And like I try and say, I put the timestamps for each curriculum. So if you're looking for a specific one, it will be timestamped, so you can go to that one if you're wanting to see, what do you do weeks 5 and 6 in exploration to 1850. Well, now you'll know. Okay. So starting out with Bible, we're still memorizing James. So it's, there was an A, like you can learn all of James or just learn James 1. And we're doing just James 1. So I think it's B for the second group. So we're working on that. And it's going pretty well. I feel like we've memorized probably to verse, I think they've memorized to verse 5, so we're kind of behind. We're supposed to be to verse 11. No, we're supposed to be at verse 9, so we're a little behind. Maybe 11. It doesn't matter. We're behind a little bit, but that's okay. We also are still doing Then Sings My Soul, and it was The Lord's My Shepherd. It's an old, what did they say? It might have been the Scottish Covenanters. I might be getting mixed up. That wrote that song, but it's very good. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube if you're trying to find one. We didn't memorize that either. Let's see, what else? Okay, we also read some more of In God We Trust. We learned about John Winthrop and Roger Williams. Let's see. I was getting all nervous that, like, maybe I did do week 5 and I'm totally forgetting. I think I need some more tea. Oh, that's another thing, part of my diet. I cut out all coffee. which is a little difficult, but like I said, I'm getting better. Okay, so they're liking this stuff. So Bible has been pretty easy because it's just been like reviewing. We're just reviewing over and over again the James. Moving down, so I'm going right through my list here. If you wonder how I share. So spelling, we are using Spelling Power, and we did a couple weeks of it, and it was going pretty good, and then it was like we hit a wall, and it was not working. Not that it was Spelling Power, it was us. I just don't feel like I can fit it in right now. So we're going to pause again on Spelling Power, and I've got to figure something out. If spelling's necessary, is it necessary? I'm not sure. Right now it feels overwhelming. Moving on, so, okay, I'm going to bounce around a little. So moving on to history. We are still using Story of the World, and I forgot one of the books, I think. Okay, Exploring American History, and they were learning about Miles Standish, and they made these cute little horn books, and I wanted to show it, but I don't know what they did with them. We even like laminated them. Let me see if I can find one. Okay, so a little horn book. So we laminated it. We put this on, and this is just like a cereal box. And then, so I thought this was so cool. So I went and found the book that this is from, like the early primer. I think was it Prime? I forget the name of it. But what they used, and I think I got the newer version, like the New England primer. I think that's what it's called. And we've been using it, and the stories in it are like so fun. And man, they were not scared to talk about death. Okay, like everyone's gonna die, and they did not mince words and like prepared their kids for it. Like, are you prepared to die? And they were just firm on it. So I appreciated that. I have a friend who, he actually says I'm like a Puritan. He's like, I think Christina would go be a Puritan if she could, because I read the Puritans a lot. I have a lot of their books, and I geek out over them. So this was really fun to teach them and read along with them. And yeah, so anyway, moving on. So the Story of the World, we learned about, we didn't use it week 5. Just joking. We used the Exploring American History. And I will say where I am struggling is with the student sheets, not the student sheets in general, but there's not a notebook page for each day, and it's kind of very like you get to decide if you want to do it. So I tend to lean towards not doing it unless the paper is presented, and so we haven't been doing a notebook page for each of them. Let me see here. Okay, so we did read, finally, okay, week 6 we read about the Dutch in the New World, Henry Hudson, tobacco, and Queen Zinga of Angola. So we read through Building a City on a Hill with my oldest, and she really enjoyed this. We learned about Anne Hutchinson, which she was just fascinated by her story, and just learning about, because she was, I gotta look it up, what was she? Antinomianism, which believes that because we are saved, we can still sin. Like, we can just continue on our sin, like, because we're saved, which is not biblical. And there's probably other stuff. I've heard a lot about Anne Hutchinson. People definitely have their opinions, and I think it's a fascinating story. So, again, I geek out over the Puritans. So, there you go. If you're interested, there is, if you're on, I'll link it below, agtv.com. So, what is it? WatchAGTV.com? I think that's what it is. The American Gospel channel, if you subscribe to it, and I think you can probably do like a free 30 days or something, there is a whole Puritan documentary, which I highly recommend. It's very good. Lots of really great scholars are on there that know way more than me. If you are, like me, a geek about the Puritans. Okay. We also learned about the Salem witch trials, which again, fascinating stories, just crazy, like everything that happened. And it was super, we just really enjoyed learning about all of this. And if you know any good books that like you can read with your kids on this, I ended up getting the Witch of Blackbird Pond, but we haven't read it yet. And I think I'm going to make her read it next year for the Progeny Press. I think that's what it's called, what she'll be doing next year. Anyways, so I'm holding off on it, but I think it talks about this. And just all the crazy stories that went along with it, which was kind of fun because we're getting close to Halloween. So yeah, just really cool stuff. And super interesting. So if you skip this, don't skip it on those chapters because they're just fascinating stories. And history. Moving on. Okay, so we're going to skip to... Okay, I'll share with you what we did do. So that's it. We colored New York. Like, does that count for anything? I don't think so, not much. But that's okay. That's what we did for that. And we made the little horn books, but that was all. So we get a lot of our writing done with our language lessons when it calls for writing, and Bible study. My kids do different Bible things, and so they've got to write for that. So that kind of makes up for the lack of writing from history. And if you like my mug, it says "Rise and Grind" on this side. If you live in New Mexico, this is delicious coffee. Pinon Coffee House, I think that's how you say it. It's wonderful. I have tea in it, but it's great coffee. I feel like I'm all over the place today. I apologize. Okay, I'll try and stay focused better. Okay, we're going to move back up to their more independent work. So math, language arts. Let me get to the right thing here. Okay. So my third grader was learning about parts of a book. What else? She learned how to write a letter and then writing a thank you letter. I also realized she hadn't memorized our address yet, so we focused on that. She earned $1 for memorizing it, and now it's memorized. So if your kids have not memorized their address, offer them $1. It might get memorized. Let's see, what else? I think that was it. Oh yeah, and then we read a poem about the children loving their mother, which is such a great lesson, I thought. Who was truly loving, like being obedient in their love, which I think is a good lesson for us as adults in our Christian walk. Like, are we obediently following the Lord, or just saying like, I love you, God, and then we go do our own thing? Or are we actually like, I love you, God, and I'm gonna go, do my dishes today, right now, because I know that that's what I need to be doing in my household, and that I can give you glory even just doing my dishes. So I just really appreciate it. It's called The Three Children. So anyway, these are great. We love these. So that was for my third grader. And my sixth grader, she was learning about direct and indirect quote and divided quotations and verbs. And she also had a poem. She's learning about verb phrases. I definitely feel like it's ramped up in the grammar department of like making sure she knows like parts of speech, and the punctuation and all that stuff. So it definitely, by sixth grade, your kids will be learning a lot more of that. Okay, so moving on to writing skills. This is just for my sixth grader. And her lessons were on about, she was working on an argument. Arguments that win is the title of it. And so she was working on different ways how to win an argument, being persuasive, and including explanation and support. And so she did her paper on butchering a chicken is not murder. Because we butcher chickens and her friends think it is. So she wrote that, and then I have her go and type it. We definitely need to work on longer sentences or adding more, but she's getting there. We're working on it. And she probably could have double spaced it or something, you know, back in 6th grade. Did we double space? I don't know. So that was good. Yeah, so she's getting it done. I am not super great about doing the progress report. I'll be honest. I should probably be better, but I just really stick in the final draft and call it good. So, okay, so moving on. I'm going to loop back up. Actually, no, wait. I told you, I'm all over the place tonight. I apologize. Okay. For math, we're still working through delta and beta. My 3rd grader is almost done with her beta, and she'll be moving on to gamma. And then my oldest is still working through delta, and they're doing great. I really appreciate. I just feel like our schedules in the morning are going so much better, getting all this stuff done that they don't really want to do, like math and language arts. It's just done first thing, and then we have the rest of the day to do history and read alouds, and it's like much more fun and exciting. So I forgot a couple things with history. So my youngest, we're still reading through the American Pioneers and Patriots. So she learned about New Amsterdam, the pioneers from Holland, the Dutch pioneers. So we really like adding this in to the lessons. So I really don't make her sit and listen to that Building a City on a Hill, but she does have to listen to this one if it's scheduled, and then vice versa. My 6th grader, she doesn't have to listen to this one. She just has to listen to Building a City on a Hill. And I like reading it to them because I feel like we have more discussion than if I just send them away to read it, because then I don't know what it's about. I copied out the first rules of Harvard College. I think this was in that Build a City on a Hill. I just found it fascinating, so I'm going to share a little bit of it. Let every student be plainly instructed and earnestly pressed to consider well the main end of his life and studies is to know God and Jesus Christ, which is eternal life, John 17:3, and therefore to lay Christ at the bottom as the only foundation of all sound knowledge and learning. I'm just going to read it all. And seeing the Lord only giveth wisdom, let everyone seriously set himself by prayer in secret to seek it of him, Proverbs 2:3. So that's the first rule of Harvard College, and I just thought, or the first rules, that's not even like existent now. So I just thought it was what an interesting history it's had. So I want to share that. Okay, moving on to science. The world of animals. They are loving this. It's just terrific. And my oldest, a 6th grader, she keeps looking up on answers in Genesis, the things that go along with it. Like they're eating this up. So they love this science this year. And I'm having them do these things. I printed these from the Exploration 1850 Facebook page from the files. Someone made these, and they're great additions and make it way easier for me. So if you need something for the science, I recommend that. We're almost done. Okay. We did a little bit of God in the history of art. We're still kind of behind. That's been hard to squish in the music, unfortunately. We did finish Almost Home. This is an excellent book. I loved it. It's so good. So just hearing their stories, and you just realize, like, how can I complain about anything? Like, they're on a boat and all their parents are like dying, and it's just super sad. So it's just very good book. We also started Amos Fortune Freeman. Again, an excellent book so far. We're 2 chapters in. So we're a little behind on this. But again, like, amazing story of the slave trade and just how awful it was and what they went through. And for him to become a believer is just amazing. It's going to be really, I think, a great read in the end. Okay. That's it for Exploration to 1850. Okay, moving on to my 1st grader. Okay. Learning God's story. Okay. So for Bible, we're still reading my big book of 5-minute devotionals. She learned about spiders and bats and three-toed sloths. So just learning about watching our tongue and keeping our lips from lying. Don't get caught in a web of lies. Being blind, I'm assuming. So being blind as a bat was being like slow to speak and slow to listen. That, you know, even though bats, they say are blind, they're actually not because they use their echolocation. So just being slow to do all that. So just really great lessons for her. And then we did animals. So I don't necessarily follow in the book or in the manual. I look up if there's an animal that is in the Bible lesson. I'll look for the animal that matches. And then we have a little easy drawing book, and I'll try and find that for her if the animal's in that as well for her to draw. I think that was it for that week. So the bat. So we're still liking this book, and she's getting through that one. Okay, so moving on to reading and language arts. So if you saw my last weekly update, we had a super pause on the lessons because she was not able to keep up with the lessons, and I realized whoa, we gotta put on the brakes. So I'll share with you what we're doing still. So she did start learning about, so what we're doing is just going back through the book and going over the words over and over again still. And again, with the reading review, we're making sure we're doing that. Oh, I forgot to say she started doing her Proverbs pages. She's doing pretty good. I feel like her writing's pretty good. We're just getting started with this. Okay, so we're doing that. I also found a couple of our kindergarten little reading pages. So we've been we'll first look at the pictures, and I'll tell her oh, this is Pam, and what's wrong with Pam, do you think? And then we'll kind of do it that way, more verbally, and then I'll have her try and read it and sound out the words. So she's doing pretty good with that. I also found these from kindergarten. She wrote down here, but to practice more words. So that's been helpful. And I also pulled the 4-square card things back out from the beginning of the school year for each short vowel sound. And so we've been working through these as well. And she's doing good with that. And then I'm still using these Hooked on Phonics little books. And she's reading through these. And then any other really easy readers that I have. I've got All About Learning, All About Readings. First book, she's using that one. I have another one from another curriculum. I can't remember what it is. And then my friend lent me from Abeka, because I didn't save my blend ladder from first grade. I could have just made one. Or kindergarten, I mean. So, but she had the cards and then their book, the Abeka book. So we've been using these to practice blending. And she's doing really well with that. We kind of do it in a song. And I make her do that, each letter blend. So if it's bat, B-A, B's, she's got to do it 3 times through. Does that make sense? So she'll go through and then go through and then go through. There you go. So that's all that we're doing for reading right now in language arts. And that's working for us. I obviously am come on, let's get going to the next thing. And she's just not quite ready yet, and that's okay. I feel like they give the teacher's manual gives a lot of grace for if your kid's not ready, it's okay. Just do it in the summer. It's going to be okay. Okay, so moving on to math. Week 5 was a lot of fun games. And so it was with Unifix cubes and matching number 2s and these grabbing blocks and all this stuff, guess the numbers. And then the next week we were learning about shapes, so I got circus shapes. Again, this is one of those math start books we really like. We also, in week 6, we got to day 30 of school, so we read 30 Mice Are Very Nice. This is a cute little book. So this is the Alpha Tales, but it's Number Tales. And this is the only one I have of them, but it's a cute one. And so we read this one. I want to get the whole set because I think it would be fun for like each day that, you know, we do the school to read one of the books with it. Well, I also had this one, Circles, Triangles, and Squares. This is a fun, like, old school, like, there's just pictures and you're just looking for the shapes. And so I liked this one for her to use. Okay, let's see what else. We also did more shape stuff from the teacher's the math, what's the math book? The complete book of math. That's what I was trying to say. So she did these from that, and then there were other pages, but I can't seem to find, I'm not sure where I put them. So we're also using these and just doing lots of counting for the day, and we're using like little manipulatives. I've got like, you know, the little bear, the colorful bears. She will count those out for the number of the day, and then I'll take, like, if it's day 21, we'll count out to 20, and I'll try and show her like counting by tens, and then I'll take one away and be like, okay, so now what is it? How many are left? And if it was 21, now it's 20, and just trying to really get those math ideas in her head. Okay, so lastly, we did Science with Plants and Things Outdoors. And it was, Things Outdoors was about trees. And so I wish now, my neighbor just said they cut down a tree the other day. And she's like, oh, if you need to come count rings. I'm like, I needed 2 last week. But we'll go do it still. But yeah, so looking at trees, and I pulled out a book, A Log's Life. We have that book, so that was fun to read. And then in here, I gotta see which week it was. We're not doing Drawing with Children, unfortunately. Oh, so this was about trees too. So we did 2 trees weeks. And then she did her family history. So I drew a little picture of our family and talked about history, and I pulled out one of our wedding photo books, and so she could look at those pictures, so that was fun, and like baby pictures. So we did all that. So we're staying, how I'm doing it is whichever week we're on for the traditional like week, I have a sticky note for that, and then I have a sticky note that fell off, but one for where we're at with the reading lessons because we had a pause. So there's 2 sticky notes going, and I think that was everything. So there you go. That was first grade. Okay, moving on to pre-K. Okay, so week 5 and 6. We're still listening to the music at the beginning. We love the CD. So she learned a song, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure. Okay, so we did that song. We kind of go back and forth. Think about such things. So the songs get stuck in your head, so it's good. We also, she learned about God loves all people. So it was a lot about that because we learned about the Tower of Babel, so that there were other sounds. And our book fell apart some, but so we made the little book. And then to go along with that, it said to listen to languages, and I have this old school See and Say Kids Around the World. Might be loud.
Hello. Bonjour. Hola. Hello. Bonjour. Oi, tudo bem? Hola. Let's play games. Goodbye. Au revoir. Adios. Goodbye. Au revoir. Até logo. Adios.
Okay, so this is what we would use to learn the sounds. Or, not the sounds, the other languages. So that was really fun. And then she learned about the letter C. Oh. Hello, let me get Hannah, just a minute.
2 hours later.
Okay. I didn't get a chance to finish Bible. Let me finish explaining Bible. So she learned about family, so she drew her own little family tree in our house. That was how she thinks our house looks. And then all of us, she drew. in the house, and then she had to draw the back of the house. So that was cute. And then she learned about Isaac and Abram, and the Tower of Babel. So I pulled out my old nursery rhyme book, the Bible Time nursery rhyme book. I love this book. And we read this poem. And I don't know if we learned about Jacob. Yes. So we learned about Jacob and his ladder. And so we read that one as well. And then I pulled out our big book of coloring pages for one of the days. So she colored the picture of baby Isaac. And then, of course, we read from our preschooler's Bible. So lots of Bible. I really love the Bible this year. And there's a red lentil stew recipe that is super yummy. My kids love it. And so don't miss doing that. That's for the Jacob and Esau story. So I love that it ties it in. So like we learned about Jacob and Esau and that they were twins. And so we did the kids puzzle that, we'd then look for pairs and talk about twins. And then we traced the little lacing and tracing card. And we made 2 of them because there was twins again. So, and it was all about 2 this week and learning about the number 2. So I use these nature activity cards. So we looked at number 2 and it was 2 jackdaws. So then she had to pair the female bird with the male bird. So that was kind of a fun little thing to do to add into this. So that was for Bible and kind of like math, I guess. She also did the color sequence cards. So learning this. So I really like these. So they have to say the colors, but they have to start at the star. So it really teaches that way of reading across this way and writing this way. And so she could only put the cars on this way. And so these are really great little tools. And if they can continue the pattern, I'd have her do that. Then we did, she learned about the letter C and the letter D. And so I pulled this out and this out. So those were fun. And we use these for the Play-Doh. She traces on here so it's like a good size and shape. We also use these, the ABC ones. Okay, so C is for conquer, and D is for duckling. So then I think it was like, she had to match the baby with the mommy. And then this one was counting conkers. I don't think I know what a conker is. Okay, so for the letters, we read through Eating the Alphabet to get an idea of those, because I don't always have a snack on hand, so this is an easy alternative to that. And we also are reading through this, Big Thoughts for Little People. This is a really fun one. So C is for crying, and she looked for all the crying kids. And D is for doing, and the kids doing things, people doing things. We also started the Crossroads of Character book, which I really like that book. Let me grab it real quick. This is a really great book on character qualities if you're looking for something like that. So we read the one on honesty. And so I really like these books. I think that was it. Okay, so that was pre-K, Voyage of Discovery. Okay, lastly, we're getting to the end, I promise. Okay, so we finished up week 3 with my preschooler. What am I trying to say? Okay, so all aboard the animal train. Okay, let's see here. So we pretended to be rabbits, but instead of pretending to actually be rabbits, we used the little rabbits, and they were the mommy and the baby, and they did all the things, and I put like a green piece of paper out for the grass, and whatever, and we put little food out, because that's about all I could do. So we did that. She also played the musical Color Walk, and I think she can now recognize a circle and a heart and the color red. So I was pretty excited about that, being 2 and all, to recognize those things. Let's see what else. She made a heart, but she covered up her side, but the other side said God loves Naomi, and it said Naomi loves God, so she did that. And then she learned about Jesus dying on the cross. And then we read a lot of books. So I don't have them all, but we obviously read First Virtues. And then Guess How Much I Love You. And there's a cute little cartoon of this on Amazon we watched as well. And then in 5 Animal Tales, we read The Rabbit and the Turtle. So it was a cute little story. And then we read White Rabbit's Color Book and The Runaway Bunny, or we call him the Naughty Little Bunny. So, there you go. Okay, I think that was it. Let me double check. Oh, she also made her greeting card, and she gave it to her grandma. And we did make Jell-O. I just had a red box of Jell-O, red color Jell-O. And I think that's it. So there you go. Whew, that was all aboard the animal train. So this was a lot. If you are still here, thank you so much. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. And thank you so much for your comments. And thank you to those that buy stuff on my Amazon affiliate link. That really is a blessing to us and helps just like a little bit. It's just little bits that just go a long way for us. So I really appreciate that when you use that link. And yeah, so if you have any questions, leave them down below. And if you like this video, here are some others to go and check out. And I hope to see you at the next video. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.